All right, hello everyone. Doug here with the LincolnList.com. Let me welcome you to another edition of Stock Market Mutterings. This is where I'll take a grope in the murkiness, try to make some sense out of this market, and I ultimately hope I can provide you guys with a few good trade ideas each week to put some money in your pocket. Now, before I start, I just got to take a moment here and just deliver some silence. Can you hear these birds chirping? It is so peaceful outside. So I'm in San Diego, California. Got Monday off because the market's closed. Got a cup of coffee in my hand. The sun is rising. The birds are chirping. The weather is fantastic. It's like 70 degrees in late February. Damn. Hear that? This is some peaceful, peaceful stuff. Sometimes you just got to take it all in. Now let's get down to business. Now, there is one thing I do want to mention before I go through the watch list and everything. And that is my premier course mini camp is going to start in like 2 weeks. I love doing these mini camps. It comes with a free DVD. It's live one-on-one training. We have private training. You have months of free access to the live trade room. It's like this whole entire mentorship program where we're working together on a personal level to help you achieve your goals. I'm just going to quickly post a link here on the screen. You guys check it out if you're interested. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start calling these Corona Fridays. Corona Fridays used to be like happy hour. You just kind of went to the local watering hole and just hung out with your friends and had a few drinks. But ever since this coronavirus thing has gotten into the market, it's almost like every Friday we get these fades. I think it's like 5 out of the last 6 Fridays. I'm just assuming that the theory here is nobody wants to hold over the weekend in case there's some enormous plague number that comes out on a Monday, especially as you're going into a 3-day holiday weekend. Who knows? It's good to pay attention to. Whether it gets bought back up on a Monday or a Tuesday when we start trading again is irrelevant. There's a chance that you can make some money there or something to pay attention to, at least some sort of change here in the market for the next day or so. Now, when you kind of just take that out of the equation and some of these late day fades we've been experiencing, the tempo, the bottom line of the market has not changed. We're still floating around all-time highs. I mean, you're looking at where the market was on Friday. It's just a few ticks off of all-time high. So we're still in that phase where every 3 days, couple days, we make an all-time high. Every dip gets bought back up. Dips don't last very long that much anyway. And that's just the theme. And that's going to continue to be the theme until one day it decides that it doesn't want to be the theme. And there's no sense in any of us, I'm not saying you guys are, but if some of you are, it's no sense in arguing with it, trying to fight against it. This is just part of the territory. You just take what the market gives you and move along. So I still think now we're still in position, and all hints and all indicators and everything is still pointing before I think you see any significant longer term stable correction, if stable was the right word to use. You're going to see Dow 30,000. It's still on the table here. It's still floating around the highs there too. Dips getting bought. So again, until that changes, I think you're going to see the same type of theme through all the stocks, that you're not going to get a lot of them that sell off all day long unless their earnings misses or hit pieces, maybe secondaries or something like that. But other than that, I think you're going to continue to see that most dips get bought in these stocks. Now, just moving on to a few individual names. I'm going to throw some out here. I know I talk about some of these all the time, but I'm going to try to bring up some fresh names. I'm going to look at team here for a second. This kind of goes along with the deck trade that I was in, if some of you kind of remember that, and I'll show you what I was talking about with deck. It's a good pattern. You can find other stocks that look like that, and that's these post-earnings gap runners. Like, a lot of people want to buy these on the first day, but sometimes, a lot of times that's not always the case. These things can have some really fickle behavior. Take a look at Roku. I mean, a lot of people would think, and I was one of them, that would think such a momentum stock, had such a strong performance, post earnings, after hours, started out the day like it was going to do some business, to just give so much of it back. So like, earnings are always a wild card. You can't really get an edge there. You just never know how the street and how everybody's going to interpret them. But if you wait for a few days, you can get a pretty good look. So like, this deck was one of these stocks here. It broke out, kind of traded sideways for about a week, back and forth, and then it finally broke over a range of 194. And from that moment, it was just straight $6-7 worth of gains. You can see these, and I think maybe Team is in a position to do something very similar. You had your earnings. It's been busting back and forth. It had one wacky day there on the 5th where some things got little wacky, let's say. But it's come right back up there, and it looks like it's poised to break out for its next leg, which is going to be about 160 to 170. Thing has a lot of range in it. It's not a stock that's for everyone. I kind of call these low float betas. I don't know if that's really the best name for them, but I classify this with like, let's see, a couple other stocks would be like Okta, OKTA is one that acts like that. You could put Shop in there, MDB, a couple of these stocks that just sometimes just have enormous moves. So let's kind of watch Team here and see if there's a good play on this, pressing through the 155s and maybe working to 160, 165. Now this ZM is also another one here. Now they got some earnings coming up, but I think when you see a flag like this or a solid setup holding its initial gap as well, you got to think if it pushes up above this 92, you're probably going to see a nice move. So it's just something I want to watch right now. It doesn't have the sexiest setup that I've ever seen. I prefer to buy them when they've reached a support level and they're ready for a bounce, maybe after several days of selling. But in this case, a lot of these flags like this sideways consolidation, holding on most of their initial huge gap day often leads to these things gearing up for another leg. So we'll kind of watch this one here. Now, if there's some day traders out there, I got to say, for the time being, if you can squeak out a dip somewhere in Adobe, I know it's not a stock for everybody with its price tag, but just get a look at this freaking daily chart. Oh, are you kidding me? Look at this monster. 280 to 370. Oh, it's 380. $100 since November. Man, unstoppable looking daily. So for a swing trade or an investment, I wouldn't say this is the best place that you can get involved in this stock, obviously. But if you're a day trader, you're picking up some scalps. If you get some dips in this thing, like on Friday where it just kind of comes back and bases, it just ramps up $2-3 at a time. I mean, this is a good day trading stock for you guys out there. Again, I wouldn't recommend this as a swing. Most of my trades that I do recommend are day trades anyway. But some of these could be swing trade, like a ZM. Looks pretty good. But this, I would just day trade it. I'm just basically saying, look at the dips, pick some support levels. If you wake up and it just drops down to 377, wait for it to slow down a little and pick it up. It's a good looking daily chart. Looks like it's ready to go a lot higher or continue to just grind it out like this. Now, another one here would also be SQ. Haven't really talked about this one. I hadn't been paying much attention to the stock for a while, but another one here that's approaching some significant resistance. And you're talking about resistance now on this one that's going back almost a whole year. So if you go back a year ago, almost a year ago, let's say into February, yes, February. Here you had a high of about 82.50 to 83. You got back into that spot in the summertime, and then again in the later part of the summer. So 2 times, July and August, it hit that. Went through this big recorrective phase, and this year it's having a really stellar performance here, back at that level. So this is a big number that needs to be watched. I don't particularly like the way that it got here. That matters to me somewhat, because the stronger and the harder that they get to a level, to me it feels like it's untrusting. You want it to kind of build around there for a while. It somewhat is doing that. It's been tinkering with that level but February, but just to make this simple, going through $83, you got to take a look at this thing. The level that it's here is serious. You got earnings backed up on this one coming on the 26th. You only got a few days, but maybe there's something here. Just kind of want to watch this one now. Because it's such a big level, you're probably going to see some sort of serious move roughly in at that level. Now I'm going to throw one more in here just as a watcher. And it's just so we all know, if those that follow me, I'm still on the, there's always a trade in Nvidia, Facebook, Apple, Tesla, Coop, all these, there's Lulu, there's always something going on in those names every day that you could just sit and look at those. But this ITCI here, this thing's been on a monstrous, like a forever fade, huh? Look at this thing, went parabolic 42 down in here. It's kind of been washing out on its 50 moving average here for about a week or so. Last couple of days started perking up out of this, and you're sitting on the 20 moving average. I think maybe you squeeze through that, you might see a nice little run. These therapeutic companies are kind of iffy with me. I don't really enjoy the biotech sort of type trades and therapeutics and stuff like that, but It's got a pretty good chart, maybe for me a day trade, but I just want to kind of throw that to your attention. Maybe you guys can see something there, feel something a little better than I do. But for a stock that looks like it's kind of found a washout zone and a spot that it's ready to just kind of pick up a pace, maybe if it's 2-3 days, this one looks like it. So anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. We had a couple of really good names, some good weeks, a good week of trading as well. Pay attention to these Corona Fridays. Pay attention to the late day fades. There might be an edge there that we can capitalize on a little bit more, or maybe that just stops and you're going to start seeing a little bit more aggressiveness there on Friday. Keep a couple of these names. We'll see how they do. As always, if you need help, feel free to reach out to me, support@thelincolnlist.com. Thanks for watching the video. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your day off. Trade them well. I'll talk to you guys next week.